Welcome back to the Allgoods, Vietnam through the eyes of love. I'm Elisa, and today's letter was written by my mom, Sarah Allgood, on July 27th, 1971. She was supposed to be flying to Miami that day, but instead, she stayed in bed. The heat from the day before had gotten to her, and she hadn't slept well. She just didn't feel strong enough to travel. So she did something that's sometimes hard to do. She listened to her body and rested. She lets my dad know not to worry, that she's taking care, and that if he were home, he'd have told her to do the exact same thing. And then there's the bear, little Richard, the giant teddy bear she picked up at Ben Franklin. He shows up again here, holding space for Dick while he's gone, even if he can't brush her hair out of her face. This letter is short, but it says so much. Here's the letter, just as she wrote it. Hi, baby. Well, don't be worried. I simply took your advice and didn't overexert myself. I was awake so much during the night, I felt worse than if I hadn't slept at all. I really think I did too much yesterday, and it got too hot. When it was around 7 o'clock and I didn't feel like getting dressed and traveling, I called Eastern Airlines to see if I could change my reservation until tomorrow. They said yes, so I stayed home in bed all day. I felt great. I then called Judy to warn her not to go to the airport, and she understood. No problem. I just felt like I needed to rest before plunging forth. No matter how hard I try, the first few days would have been catching up. Yes, I'm taking care. I felt like this is what you would want me to do, if you were here. And I'll do the same in Miami, okay? So don't you worry. My little Richard kept me warm and watched over me all night. You know, he's so big. I can rest my head on his shoulder like it was yours, only he doesn't put his arm around me and keep my hair out of my face like my precious darling. You know, sweetheart, so many things I miss, but the little things you do for me, like brushing my hair out of my face, or wrinkling your nose when you say you love me, I miss this so much. Of course, I don't even mention our love and sex sessions. I don't think I have to. I can't remember if I told you or not, but the bank sent me checks with both of our names on them. They now say Richard A. or Sarah A. I have finally arrived. Ha! My countdown is still on based on the 8th. I'll leave it as such until I get a true count, okay? Well, Whittle Chickie, this is a short letter, but all of my love is sent with it. Tomorrow I'll have more news, okay? I decided to leave the car with Joe and Jean Sabato rather than depend on Connie. I think it's in better hands. I'll close, darling. I love you so very much. You know, if Mike and Nancy had a third of our love, they could probably make it without difficulty. Hugs and kisses. I'm forever yours and always. Sarah. That was my mom, Sarah Allgood, writing to my dad, Dick, on July 27th, 1971. I love this letter because it shows what love really looks like. Not just in romance or longing, but in care. She stayed in bed because she knew she needed rest. She canceled her flight because she wanted to feel strong when she saw him again and when she got to Miami. And she knew, without question, that is exactly what he'd want her to do. And that teddy bear, little Richard, somehow becomes more than just a toy. He's a stand-in, a placeholder, a soft reminder of someone who isn't home yet. Thanks, you guys, for listening. Thank you for listening to the Allgoods. If you would like to support the podcast, you can visit buymeacoffee.com/the Allgoods. If you would like to send me a text, there's a button on the podcast that says send a text, and those come directly to me, and I would love to hear from you. I'm so glad you're here. Until next time.